What's up, Pokemon players? Pokemonger back with another online deck showcase for you, and today I got a fun one. It's Shining Genesect and Shining Legends Venusaur. So Venusaur has the ability, each basic grass in play counts as 2 basic grass, so this really helps to boost Shining Genesect's damage. And Shining Genesect, 130 hit point basic, 1 prize attacker. Energy reload ability, once per turn you can move a grass energy from one of your Pokemon to this Pokemon, so really accelerate energy to this Pokemon, catch an opponent off guard with that, and then Gaia Blaster attack, 50 base damage and then 20 more for each basic grass energy attached. So if you have Venusaur in play and 2 energy on this Genesect, it actually counts as 4 energy and you're hitting for 130, and the damage just goes up from there. So very nice, very fun Pokemon. 1 Baby Ray in here for the late game. Turbo Storm allows you to get back 2 basic energy from your discard pile to one of your benched Pokemon, typically going to be a Shining Genesect on a successive turn. 1 Oranguru for the late game in. 2 Lele's in here as kind of a backup attacker. If Venusaur's in play, you only need 1 energy to energy drive. But otherwise it's just in here for the to draw out our supporters. So pretty standard supporter count here. Although I do have 1 Skyla in here because it just helps to get our Venusaur line into play, grab a rare candy or a heavy ball, whatever we need to help get Venusaur into play. Helps with that consistency. And I do only have 1 Bridget in here. I'm just willing to accept if it's prized. You might want to up that to 2 though if you're going for consistency. 3 Field Blowers because Garbatoxin Garbodor is going to destroy this deck if it gets put in play, so 3 of these in here to kind of combat that. Also, we have no stadiums, so 3 is going to be nice to get rid of our opponent's tools and stadiums. We have 1 Heavy Ball just to help with that Venusaur line. You can Skyla for it. You can grab out Ivysaur or Venusaur with it. 4 Max Elixirs to help accelerate energy to boost Gaia Blaster attack. 1 Revitalizer Super Rod to get back our Pokemon and energies. And then we have 3 Choice Bands to improve our damage output. 2 Float Stones to retreat our heavy retreaters such as a Venusaur, Ivysaur. Those are 4 energy cost retreaters. You can even throw one on Oranguru. And then a high basic energy count of 11. We need at least 11 in my opinion. I wouldn't go lower than 11 in order to make sure that we're hitting these max elixirs. And then a 3-1-3 Venusaur line. That's not the highest count. I would like a 4-1-4, maybe 4-2-4, but this deck is it's very tight. There's not a lot of room, so I did the best I could to make it consistent while still fitting everything in, and that's basically the list. If you have any questions or suggestions, leave a comment and I'll get back to you. Otherwise, enjoy the matches. Okay, let's get into a match here. So I start Bulbasaur, but I have Ultra Ball in hand and a draw supporter so I can comfortably Ultra Ball for Lele, for Bridget, and then still have a draw supporter in hand. Draw another draw supporter off of my mulligans and a rare candy, so I'm going to be able to, as long as I don't get and evolve into Venusaur next turn. I opt to get rid of In and the Revitalizer, so I can go for that Bridget. Get a backup Bulbasaur in play into Genesect, and I opted to keep the Sycamore instead of the End because I'm pretty much going to play down this hand next turn and just go for a whole new 7. My opponent is playing Ho-Oh with the Kiawe, so he goes for Ultra Ball for first turn. Lele for Kiawe here. And I did keep that Field Blower in hand just in case he attached a tool to this active Volcanion EX. I know those decks like to use their float stones and stuff, so hit the max elixir off the top deck, get rid of that float stone, and now I'm pretty much just looking for a way to retreat this active Bulbasaur. I top deck another way to get a second line into play here of Venusaur. So now I'm pretty comfortable if one gets taken out. although I am not able to retreat yet, so I go ahead and get 3 Pokemon charged up here. Lele can actually hit for a lot with just 1 energy, considering how many energy my opponent plays. And right now each Genesect is hitting for 130 before I manually attach and use the ability next turn. So I get away to retreat here, and my opponent just has to somehow get into the active, and he finds a switch to get into the active, takes out one of my Venusaurs, which is unfortunate. It would have been a Bulbasaur, but I did find that turn 2 Venusaurs. So I attach with Max Elixir, but I can use the ability to get 4 energy on total, attach Choice Band, and I'm able to hit for 240 damage. Right now my opponent has no backups really, and I'm so well set up at this point, I just don't see how my opponent wins this. Especially considering that we're only using 1 prize attackers, and they're using 2 prize attackers. So, benches of Volcanion, I can go ahead and take out that, a Turtonator, I can go ahead and take out that Turtonator next turn, or I can just elect to take out this active Volcanion. I could take out the baby, but I probably just want to go after these 2 prizes, and I lose connection, so servers went offline. But that was a pretty good example of a sweet setup with that deck. Let's go ahead and get into another one. Okay, here's another match. This time I start Baby Ray, which is fine. I don't typically like to see him until later on in the game, but it's okay to see him. He's 120 hit points, so he can take a hit or 2 for me while I set up. And I do have Bulbasaur on the bench already, which is nice. The only problem with this hand is no way to bridge it, which is kind of important for a deck like this, where you need to set up a stage 2 and an attacker at the same time. My opponent is playing Raichu GX. It looks like he attaches basic energy to Pikachu and benches a Raikou attack. I go ahead and attach basic energy to Baby Ray, in the hopes that I can just get it back off with Shining Genesect. And then it looks like I am able to take the energy off Baby Ray, and then I am able to get a fair amount of Pokemon into play without playing Bridget, and I still have a draw supporter for next turn, so pretty good. My opponent attaches another energy to the active Pikachu and goes for an Ultra Ball for Lele. So he's gonna bring out a Sycamore here, discard his hand, get 70 cards. Probably looking for just Raichu GX here to take out my Baby Ray, which is weak to lightning, by the way. I go ahead and promote Shining Genesect. Really what I need here is a Max Elixir and a manual attachment. That way I can pull energy off the bench with the ability, and then still be able to attack. Even though it's not for a lot right here, I elect to Ultra Ball away my Sycamore for some reason. Yeah, I'm not sure why I did that, but I do have, I don't know, I guess I have Lele now. To opt for any supporter I want, unless I get End, then I just basically wasted those resources, so I don't know what my thinking was there. My opponent Ultra Balls for an Oranguru. And this Pikachu is going to be able to Thunder for 160, take 30 damage to itself, but wipe out my board, take all my energy off, and I am having kind of a hard time setting up this game, whereas last game I was able to set up immediately right away. This game's taking me a little bit longer to get going. I do finally find a Venusaur line. I think it took me turn 3 that time, and with a Max Elixir. I'm not sure how many energies I've been through at this point, but that's why I say in the deck profile don't go much lower than 11, because otherwise you're really going to start missing those Max Elixirs a lot. Right now I'm way behind on the board state and obviously on the prize count. The one good thing is my Lele can attack for 1 energy, and I'm not sure if my opponent is considering that. So Lele will be able to take a knockout here as long as I can just find a manual attachment. And the good news is he doesn't have a ton of energy on his backup threats at the moment. That Electrode or Magnemite is going to be a problem though, because it doesn't evolve into the Magnezone, which can allow you to accelerate as much energy from your hand as you want per turn. So I'm going to have to try to get rid of that as soon as I can. I do take the knockout with Lele for 1 energy. So that's a nice little utility that this deck has. Lele can just attack for 1 energy for quite a bit, as long as Venusaur is in play. So very versatile deck here, very fun. Now I'm just mostly worried about that benched Magnemite, I think is what it's called, or yeah, pretty sure it's a Voltorb, maybe it's Voltorb, I can't remember. But he does paralyze me with that other Raichu, with the ability, whenever you evolve into it, your opponent's active Pokemon is paralyzed, so I am paralyzed right now. I have the option to Ultra Ball here, probably grab a Lele for Guzma to get myself unparalyzed. And as long as this Max Elixir hit, which it does, I can go ahead and attack with Venusaur, or I mean Genesect, because I can pull that energy off Lele and hit for 130 to this Voltorb or Magnemite that I was afraid of. So my opponent really had no backups there. I guess he considered it a loss from there. So there's a good example of how if you start up slow, you can still, you know, it's a very versatile deck. You can sort of play defensively and wiggle your way into a win eventually. So alright, that's it for this one. Thanks for watching, guys. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, it really helps out the channel, and I'll catch you on the next one.